laying next to me because my wife's in Paris.
Fantastic. I'm
All
ready,
right.
baby.
Are we live, Buzz, or are we not live? All right. 10 seconds ago. All right. Hello and welcome to the fifth episode of Second Sons. We are officially live. The second season of Second Sons, fifth episode. Woo! I am, as always, your gatekeeper, Roy
Did
Rogers.
you forget your fucking name and have to stall?
Formally,
He's like, I am as always.
Come on, I have a whole spiel, guys. Come on. All right, we are a real show. All right, we are the third longest running Game of Thrones podcast now, behind Will and one of our guests. All right, so here we go.
We're the only live show, also. Like no one else is really trying to create this kind of live content.
Anyway, as always, I'm Roy Rogers,
Lake.
formerly of the New York City Meta, currently of my apartment Meta. This is the last episode with my beard in 2017. Ala just whooped back there. With me, as always, is Aaron Glazer, who, as always, does not get to say anything. Sid, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. End of story. Yeah, that's good.
Also, Roy, the only reason you're doing this is I forgot his name, so I can't even ask.
All right. Schoenthal, how are you doing?
Doing good. I do want to make a note to our readers, despite what Roy said, we don't condone any gatekeeping on this show. You're welcome to listen, even if you don't know what we're rambling about.
That's true. I apologize. It was very unfortunate of me. And we are joined for this very special episode at 3 a.m. local time by two illustrious guests. So which of our two former Imperial overlords wishes to introduce themselves to our viewers, not listeners or readers?
Oh yeah, readers. Yeah, we got listeners and readers in that intro.
What, you guys don't transcribe every episode? I thought we were doing that.
So, gentlemen.
Yep. I'm Isyan. I'm from the Cross Keys Meta in London.
Okay. Succinct. And
Hang on. Where are the Cross Keys?
We're in London.
Great show.
Yeah, he said that. He said London.
So
Glazer.
does this mean there's like a cross like this, or like keys just
where is
mad at something?
Where's what? It's in Bank, which is in the center of London.
You're just making shit up now. All right, go ahead. I'm pretty sure this guy's fictional. Just going to leave that out there.
It's your turn, Bamford.
Oh, fantastic. Normally I speak first, you see, so this is all very confusing. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Bamford. I'm your king of the castle normally, but today that's Roy Rogers. For those who don't know me, I'm the host of Banter Behind the Throne with my wonderful co-hosts, Tony and Peel, who do exist. And I also play in the Cross Keys Meta of London. Nowadays, I've moved on from the sunny heights of Brigstock. So,
oh, that's sad.
It's still the spiritual home of Thrones in the UK?
It is indeed.
All right. Well, now that we have that important piece of continuity laid in bed, we have a very special episode lined up. The reason why we have dragged these two men out of their wonderfully warm beds, I'm sure, at 3 o'clock in the morning, is that we are doing a special episode today. We're updating the fourth episode of our first season, which is when we talked about the international meta, which is we talked about, or as Aaron called it, who to know. All right, so we're going to be doing an international meta report for both. Well, okay, it's only partially international. All right, it's very Eurocentric. So I apologize. Here it is North America and EU, or EU plus UK. So we are. I know. I'm sorry, Bamford. I just broke the promise
still in the
today
EU.
right there. That's true.
Transitioning. They're transitioning.
So. We transitioned to second edition. Okay,
right.
So I'm disappointed in myself. I couldn't resist, though. All right, so we will be going step by step, alternating one North America meta and then one European meta, and going back and forth, talking about who's strong, who's weak, who's improving, where's the best players, where are the less than best players, mediocre, one might even say bad players in each of these regions. So I'm going to apologize in advance for anyone who we have offended, but it makes good radio or good television in this case. All right.
We're not on radio or television, you fuck.
Good reading, I think.
Good reading. That's true. Good reading. So I think we'll start with an easy one. We'll start with the low-hanging fruit of North America, California. So which of the two Californians represented on this cast wants to sort of talk about what's the state of the California meta in 2000?
We're doing the state of every minute. I thought we just did the top three last time.
No, we talked about a whole bunch of them. I re-listened to the
No,
episode.
yeah, but we just did. No, I thought we just did top 3 from each meta.
Like players?
Yeah.
Oh, we could do that, but I was just thinking people could also just talk in general about where the meta is, whatever you feel comfortable with.
This is gonna be a 7-hour episode, guys.
Oh my god. No, we can do it quick. You want to start, Chris, or do you want me to start?
Well, I mean, California it's kind of a tough subject because our state's big enough that we have 2 totally unrelated metas. Not totally unrelated. That's not fair. We're all good friends.
They're very incestuous.
So do you want to take NorCal or SoCal?
Yeah, I'll take NorCal. You do SoCal.
Okay, cool. Why don't you start us off at the top of the state?
All right, so NorCal's been around forever, and honestly, to be honest, we have been, and I say we, even though I don't live there anymore, but I used to. Like, I was kind of in the heart up there for many years, and we were not the most competitive meta for years and years, mostly because we just didn't travel at all. It really wasn't until SoCal kind of popped up and became kind of the center of Thrones in California that I feel like NorCal was kind of like, hey, like we've been playing for a long time too. We should probably let's step up our game. Let's go, because NorCal was actually kind of the first center of Thrones. Well, you could argue there's a few players in Southern California, but they moved north, and then Southern California kind of blew up again when Kraus started stuff back up years and years ago. But Northern California right now is thriving. Like, it is a very big meta. They just had a community tournament a couple weekends ago at like 35, 36 players. And it was, I think most would consider it kind of a small one. NorCal put 2 in the top 16 at Worlds last year. NorCal doesn't travel much to like Gen Con, so we don't have much to brag about for there. But yeah, I mean, 2 NorCal in the top 16 at Worlds, and it was their first time going. Multiple regional winners. You know, I don't want to call them one of the absolute top metas, but like, I think Southern California will agree. We'll see when we get to Southern California. But Northern California has a lot of legit players, a lot of guys who've kind of been kind of iron sharpening iron up there, and they've gotten really, really good. As someone who's moved away and then just kind of comes back infrequently, they kick my ass. Like, they're really good. I'm so impressed by what NorCal's become in my absence. All it took was me leaving, and they became serious and good. That's all it takes.
So then, who are the 3 best players? Who are the 3 that kick your ass the hardest because you keep playing fucking Lanny Jumper because it was your only good idea 8 years
I don't
ago.
only play that, but I did play that a couple weekends ago. A new version, but yeah, I love that deck.
That's true. Especially.
Okay, so top 3. All right, I'm going to give a quick top 3, like not too much thought, but I'm going to say it's Alejandro, it's Brad, Norman. So Alejandro Pantoja, Brad Norman, and Eric Green. I would put those guys as the consistent top 3. There's other really good players, which is right below, but those guys are always in the cut, always at the top. 2 of those guys made top 16 at Worlds.
Really Chris was just saying yesterday that Alejandro sucks, and your opinion must be wrong then. Just saying
I don't
that
think he said
Alejandro's
that.
the worst.
I don't think Chris would say that, because we have videotape. We can go to the videotape.
Were we not on Skype yesterday together? Were we not talking? And you said Alejandro sucks. Admit it.
And I did not say that because he just crushed me in the California Octagon League.
I mean, you're a very not good anymore. Did you even win Gen Con this year?
I didn't even win Gen Con.
No, Seattle won Gen Con, which we'll get to.
But I'm pretty much with Sid on the top 3 in NorCal. Those would be my 3 if I was asking. They're all really great guys. They put on a great show up there, and we're really glad to have them close enough to make excuses to travel to.
Dinner and a movie.
That's right.
Great show.
SoCal is still a powerhouse in my opinion. I think we're still kicking butts and taking names.
I mean, how many SoCal people made the cut at Gen Con?
How many SoCal people were at Gen Con
though? There was 1.
They were too scared to show up.
2
at Gen Con.
Moran and you, right? So
wait, no, Moran's NorCal now.
Moran. So he is no longer SoCal, but we enfold him anyway. But anyway, so I would say that overall, since our last episode, if I'm remembering when it was, our numbers have kind of stabilized, but I think our top crust is probably as strong as it ever was. So we're bringing a big contingent to Stalik for those who haven't heard. So we're
us
People should
constantly
be
talking about it on the show.
I'm so
on the
excited.
lookout.
I mean, we're going to finally settle the question of who's better. We've never, I mean, I guess we've had pretty good European contingents at Worlds, but Worlds is a little tough. I like that finally we're sending a significant Team USA. And it's mostly California.
Why does
Having
World
been to
suddenly
Worlds,
not count?
Worlds is way easier. Worlds was shit compared to Starlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Worlds,
saying. Like, this is really.
Yeah, how many top fours at Starlight have you
chance.
been in, Bamford?
0.
And how many have you been in Worlds?
0 actually.
I thought you were the top
But
4.
I've been in the top 8 in Worlds.
Got him.
Top 8? Okay.
You really,
Guessing
you
to the
really
cup
made
is
your
a lot
point
easier.
strong, Leroy.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
sorry.
Anyway, yeah.
My
So
memory is I oversold how good Bamford it was at
I would-
first edition.
I would
sorry.
happily take
Sorry.
our 5 best against 5 best from any other individual area. So
That's fair.
there's good.
So who
So-
are your three? Who are your 3 best?
3 best from
And-
SoCal.
And you don't count. You're a has-been.
Ryan Jones.
Who?
Right. Yeah. Check out that card that puts guys in your hand. He's on that one.
Or check out two episodes ago of Second Sons.
That's right. Kevin Shannon is up there. The world might not know him yet, but he's a comer, as they say.
Why would that's really? He's a
No one
comer.
says that.
That's what you got.
And then a third one that is not me. No, but there's
The best
like a
kind of shade.
with
The best
me
kind of
and me and 4 or 5 others that are right on the same tier.
So what Chris just said is he's better than all of them because he thought of himself immediately above them. So
Definitely not.
if you were not one of those 2 people, Chris
I
just
think
said
it's
he's better
got to
than
be Johnny Wright. I think it's got to be Johnny Wright.
Good choice.
He won
glad
our.
you said Johnny.
He got
He's my spirit
second
animal.
place in our local league to Kevin. So I think he has earned that honor.
Kevin is definitely, I think, one of the better unknown players on the North American sort of scene. So it'll be interesting to see how big of a splash he makes at Stalik. I think it's going to be a big one. All right, so California.
he's a
check
comer
off.
and he's going to make a
Gonna
big
like jump
splash.
off the castle or
He-
That's right, he is.
into
and
the river?
Wait, hang on, Bamford.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Is he going to jump off the castle into the river?
Is that a thing people do?
Don't know. Maybe.
I didn't know.
What don't people do at Stalik?
Just tell him,
Alright.
yeah, that's a thing.
it'll get
gotta
me
do
a
it.
Stalik.
You gotta
I'll
do
jump
it.
off a
Totally
fucking
do it.
castle into a river. That
Quite
sounds
hard.
amazing.
Tell him there are a bunch of Martell cards down there, and he'll definitely do it. All right, so
As
then
you
let's.
well know, I carry Martell cards with me, so
It's true. Even in decks, they're absolutely not supposed to have orange cards in.
Yeah. Literally
speak-
cannot have them.
Speaking of tournament scenes where you don't get disqualified for having patently illegal decks, let's start with. We'll be parochial since we started California. For our EU, we'll start with the United Kingdom. We have 2 representatives, 2
That's 4
luminaries of the UK.
countries. That's
How's
cheating.
the UK doing right now?
Firstly, we have 4 countries, so do you want us to do them separately?
That's entirely up to you
Also,
guys.
Do
Northern
not.
Ireland.
We do not want you to do that. You need to.
We
You
can pass
we
on
lump
Northern
them
Ireland.
together.
Is there
so
a
you're
Welsh
gonna
meta?
have-
I know there's a Scottish meta.
So
Darren
Alright.
Hazelden is the best player in Wales. He is the only player
So there's
in
no
Wales.
Welsh meta. Okay,
It's
already
the
got it.
Only guy.
Costas and Evan are the best
he's the
players
biggest
in Scotland.
asshole in Wales too, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, he's the biggest asshole in Europe. If you want to
Wow.
be that specific.
Wow.
Even when Sandy's
It's
visiting.
European, so
Even when Sandy's visiting.
oh wow.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and Costas and Evan
Wait.
in Scotland, so
Can I
that's
tell a
it.
Sandy story?
No.
Oh, wait.
we got-
Who's the best? Sorry. Go ahead.
Costas and Evan in Scotland would be the
Okay.
best 2 Scottish players.
Hey, can I tell a Sandy story?
No,
It's a good Sandy story.
there are no such thing.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, no Sandy story. Roy says we're not allowed. Move on.
All right. So what else? So we have got Darren is the only Welsh player. We have Evan and
there's Benno actually, the Dutch guy. He's moved to Wales.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So there's two players in Wales.
Welsh
That's impressive. That's impressive. So okay, 2 players in Scotland plus Tony, who doesn't count in Dave's list. And then okay. So then let's get to Northern Ireland. So where's Northern Ireland in this?
Oh, it's to the northwest of Wales.
All right. So there's no Northern Irish.
No meta. No
Irish
Northern-
meta. All right, so England then. Clearly the only UK meta that matters. Well, how are you guys doing in there? You've had some big regionals.
The best
Here, well-
players are in London.
Best
All
players
of
in life.
All of them.
Prove it. Why?
Or one
Why are
of
the
me.
best players in London?
Results, I guess. We've had 2 or 3 tournament wins, 5 tournament wins actually from players in London. Regional wins, sorry. 2 from me and 3 from Whammer.
And another second place from you as well.
You know how I know? You know how I know that you're still competitively hollow? Because Wama can still win shit.
Well, okay.
Well, to be fair, the 2 tournaments that he did win, I wasn't there, so.
Oh, are you his?
Fair enough.
He's backing you up right now,
No.
Glazer. He's backing you
Yeah,
up.
so he's competitively. You are competitively dense, and the rest of London is competitively hollow.
It's a
Well,
bold
I mean-
claim for the best city in the world.
To throw Seth under the bus, he was back on the UK's competitively hollow meta at Gen Con, which is why American decks are better than UK decks, and that America was going to prove it at Stolic. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Wait, Seth was putting pressure on us too? Jeez.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't he going?
No, Seth's not going.
He doesn't have
I feel
the
like that could
guts.
go badly for him, right? Like I love the man now, but he's not very liked.
He may end up in the river. He may
When
not
I'm
jump
the
off
one
the
who has to defend him, that's bad.
All right. So who are the top 3 UK players then, including all of the countries who are part of your, ruled by Queen Elizabeth? What are the who are the 3 best players?
Okay. Alex Hines. He's ruled by Queen Elizabeth.
Does Alex play? I don't think Alex has played in quite a while.
Alex doesn't count. He's a TO now and
Yeah.
a copy editor. So
See, I was really looking forward to this bit so I could talk about how good Isian is, but now I'm just not going to bother, and I'm just going to talk all day. Because I thought I was here exclusively to represent England, and now, 5 minutes to go, I get surprised. Isian's coming on as well. So it's like,
5 minutes ago.
I went to bed early for you guys, to get up early for you guys. And now, I'm sitting here getting pissed at 3 a.m. on a Wednesday. And I'm not even exclusive.
I'm so happy
awful.
that I'm here.
I can
I
do
was
this in my own
freaking out
time.
'cause
I
I've
did
never
this like
talked
2
to you
days
so-
ago.
Would you like me to leave, Bamford?
No, it's okay. Now you're here.
all right, but you still haven't got. All right, Alex Hines. All right, who is apparently, the whole. This is Canada 150 year, which is all about how they're not part of your country anymore. So it's good that we've been included. So
All
who
right.
are the other 2?
Isian, do you want to go for your top 3, and then I'll comment on that.
Right, so for the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, so currently, I think Whammer is probably the most consistent player. I think Darren Hazelden does really well as well, but he tends to play Martel, which is a bad thing. Doesn't get him anywhere.
I'm only like 3 miles away, Isian. I can come for you, Fraser.
You'll find
I don't
secure
think you should be driving, Dave.
multiple places.
There's no one on the road. It'd be fine.
I don't have a car in London.
They just run.
Uber.
I've done okay at a couple of tournaments as well, so I'm probably up there. Ryan Wood's fallen down a bit.
Ooh,
Haven't seen
That's
Ryan.
some shade. Let's hear about that. I want to hear about
Yeah.
that. Why is
So
Ryan
Ryan,
falling?
this is not his year. He's in a slump. This is a slump year for Ryan.
Yeah, this regional season hasn't shown up much. I think has he shown up to any of the bigger regionals?
Northampton.
He showed up to Northampton, which was the first one.
Yeah. He's been very busy this summer, I think. I don't think he can make nationals either, so I hear. So,
Do we know?
yeah.
Do we know what he's doing? Can we speculate wildly?
I mean, there's been pictures of a woman with him on Facebook. I don't know
No,
what that means.
I thought he was just playing L5R. That's what I heard.
He left
He's
us for the world.
like in
Rokugan.
Milan or something, right? I think he's in Milan. I stalk him if you didn't know, and I think he's in Milan right now.
That's basically Rokugan.
Left us for the world.
All right, so we have Isian, Wama, and then and Darren, right? We're the 3. What do you think?
Probably. What is
I
Bamford?
place a lot of emphasis on people who are versatile as well as just good. So, for instance, Isian is a great player, but Isian only ever plays Greyjoy and Night's Watch, so he loses points for that. Whereas Whammer is good with all of the houses. So Whammer is just. I think Whammer at the moment is the best player in the UK.
Yeah.
And I've always had him at second since I've started playing the game. But I think now he's finally taken that crown from Wedge. who is just as versatile but hasn't been as successful this year, partially because he doesn't care as much. In second, I would be tempted to put probably Evan. Evan is phenomenal at all the card games. Last year he won 4 regionals, 1 Thrones, 1 Netrunner, 1 Conquest, and 1 Star Wars.
Yeah, I think Evan comes before Darren in my list as well.
Yeah. Firstly, don't encourage Darren. It's just not worth it. No matter how good he is. He's not that good. He won Blackwater, but the TO, you can't trust him. So
it's also important to win. It's also important to note that Wedge and Bamford are the only 2 Brits that can drink. Everyone else fell apart like a bitch.
Relevant information.
All right.
And then in third, I would still probably put Isian, despite his lack of versatility. But I would, of course, Wedge is a close fourth there. I personally am past my best. I'm running purely on muscle memory now. I don't get enough games in, despite now having 2 regular game nights a week that I can't be bothered to show up to. And they involve beer, and I'm still not there. Yeah. There's plenty of other good players. Aaron, some Buzz just mentioned Josh in the chat. Josh would be the best player in the country if he actually played proper decks. But he doesn't, so we can't count him. There you go.
All right.
Man after my own heart. I like this game.
So back to North America then, which I think we should talk about the rising meta in North America in 2016, 2017, which is Seattle, right? Which sort of had their opening splash when they hosted Nationals this year, placing somebody at the final table. And then Alex Black, he's sort of as the dark horse candidate and came and took down Gen Con. And I know the Pacific Northwest in general almost matches the Midwest in its insecurity in relation to the coastal elites of New York and California. And Pacific Northwest is on the coast. They don't even have a good sense of their geography with their insecurity.
It's because they fucking their names sound made up. Alex Black and Jim Henson. Are you fucking serious? Those aren't even real people.
So,
Jim Henson actually was a real person. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I hear he spells it differently though.
He spells it the right way.
I think Seattle, its main problem, I think, as a national force is its bench is really shallow. I mean, you just have Alex and Jim. That people, I guess, Nick Hansen. I thought he is also
Nick
Seattle,
Hansen
right?
Nick Hansen is Wisconsin. He's
Wisconsin, right? Okay, yeah. See. So those are the 2 named players we can name from that. They don't even.
So there's what's his name? Zach Dakota is up there as well.
Oh yeah, Zach is good as well. But again, unlike Southern California, unlike the Northeast, the bench of nationally known players that people have run into played from is very low. But they're definitely a meta to keep to keep an eye on, and definitely now that they've made a huge splash, that's going to attract, I think, more people. So definitely, I think, hopefully, when we do this in 2018, we'll see even more success from Seattle. So.
They're small but mighty right now, right? Small but mighty. I think
they are the successful underdogs, and hopefully they can do it and not just be a flash in the pan like other.
Yes, and I would like to see another.
Fact, their mayor sleeps with underage girls.
Oh, okay. I don't know how that's relevant to the entire Pacific Northwest because I think that region doesn't have one mayor, but
I don't know.
Seattle.
I was saying Seattle because I mean, to be completely honest, Portland.
True. I don't think Portland is very competitive at the moment. I think they have a couple players, but they're not top tier. I would like to see some more varied results from them in terms of their deck. Like Alex even admitted, like the deck that he won Gen Con with, he played at Thrones War, and he didn't do great at Thrones War, but his deck did, and so he just kind of ran it back at Gen Con with a bunch of new cards that definitely improved it. And I'm not saying it was a gimmick deck at all, but it would be good to see them kind of expand their horizons.
Wait, can we define irony? Chris Schoenthal, who won Gen Con with Lanny Dragon, is complaining about people's unoriginal decks.
My brother took it was unoriginal. I said it was the same deck he used before.
In brief defense of Alex, though, he did top 8 at Nationals with Targ, right? Targ Fealty?
May have. Did he top 8? I think he top 16. I don't know if he top 8. I don't remember how that went. But
you were the judge there, so you should know.
It was
and the guy who made top 2 was Tyrell.
No, it was Targros. The aggro rush build.
And that was, from what I can tell, his own homebrew, and it's kind of taken off. So I think Jim definitely, if he travels more, is going to be somebody to look at too.
Yep. I definitely, again, I congratulations to Seattle to sort of putting themselves on the map and sort of bringing a lot of respect. So they definitely deserve that. So let's jump.
Wait, if Jim travels, be sure to ask him about Kermit's new voice actor.
It's true. They fired the long-term one. Okay. So if we want to jump back over across the pond, where should we go in Europe, my friends? Should we go right to your near neighbors of like France or Spain, or go a little further afield? Ireland? Okay. All right. Yeah. The Irish meta. All right.
They have at least 3 players.
Wait, you guys don't rule Ireland anymore? What happened?
All right. Well,
sadly,
on that political,
I'm authorized to talk about the International Thrones community, but HM government has not given me authorization to talk about foreign policy in general. So please, can you put that kind of question to our press office, and they'll be able to deal with that when the time is appropriate. Sorry, Glaze.
Fair play. Ireland. Talk about Ireland.
Oh, there are literally 3 players in Ireland. Ben Fox, Osin, and the other chap whose name I forget. So, I was joking.
In no particular order, those are the top 3 and the only 3?
They're the only 3 that travel, so presumably there are other players.
Presumably.
I'll give a shout out to Ben Fox just for joining the International Fantasy Football League of Thrones players. He jumped at the opportunity. And I think he won. Lukaku. He won week 1. It's great. What's that?
You wouldn't let me draft Lukaku. What's wrong with that?
You could have. I would have totally let you in if you would have drafted him in round 1. It would have been fine. Absolutely. All right, we've talked Ireland already, Roy. We're moving on. Roy
did not turn his mic back on.
Sorry, I apologize. So back to America then?
Yeah. Who's next?
So why don't we jump to probably the hardest geographic...
the last 2 metas were shitty. We need a good one.
Well, we're going to do an even more diverse one, which is the Midwest. So the Midwest is really hard to classify because there's
not a meta. That's 15 metas.
I know, but it's but they're not the problem.
They're all one person in each. So
yeah, it's a one person. It's a bunch of really good people.
So Will, Kyle, Tommy, we're done. Move on.
Is anyone still playing Tulsa?
I mean, it was a good year for Tulsa.
Yeah, they still play in Tulsa. I mean, they play, but no one's winning anything there.
I haven't. Yeah. Well, I mean.
No one's traveling anywhere from Tulsa.
Video about Thrones in a year and a half or something. So,
and then
Team Covenant just kind of became Star Wars fanboys, right? And then that was the end of their
really bad Thrones commentators.
Oh my God! They're not doing it again, right? They are done, right?
I'm not going to say defense, but when they get the chance to switch over to a game that's going to make them actual money because there's a singles market and stuff like that,
Yeah, I get
it. In the end, they're businessmen, so they have to kind of take that chance.
Oh yeah.
I don't personally agree with it after they kind of built up this reputation for being all about all of the games and then just kind of ignoring some of us. But it's their choice.
But I mean, but their meta has suffered. I mean, their meta is now.
It has.
Yeah. Definitely. Tulsa's in a decline. Even will admit that Missouri is in a rebuilding period. They have a couple of RJ is a rising talent. He's won and done in tournaments there. He did pretty well at Gen Con. He did well at the Melee and Gen Con, but he's still not entirely developed there. So I think in the Midwest, the only group that's really on top right now is Indy, which of course produced Team America flag bearer Jess Thompson. Chris Thompson's had a great year of just top 8ing in basically every tournament he shows up at.
Wait, she wins a 25-person tournament and she's America's flag bearer now?
Who has, hold on. Who has free accommodations and a first-round bye at Stolic of Team America? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Chris. You don't have that. Chris doesn't have, the other Chris doesn't have that. Ryan doesn't have that.
Chris doesn't have that. Chris doesn't have that.
Chris also doesn't have
anyone named Chris does not have that.
Ticket?
All right,
I don't even know if Chris is playing.
So there we go. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, so Chris, Jess... Oh, go ahead, Bamford.
You put their rising success down to the top quality swag in their house. Because Chris is, of course, the only person outside of England with a Banter Behind the Throne playmat.
That's true. But I've never actually seen him play on that mat. He might just have a friend.
By the way, fuck you for that.
Yeah. Swag master.
Well, I don't want to win things to get what I want.
Like
a good name for a cat too.
Yeah.
What's a good contest?
What's the name?
Much and Morgan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It works on so many levels as well. Like the captain of Leicester City, Morgan. Peel's favourite rum, Morgan. The girl that Peel works with that's totally not creepy, Morgan.
He's haunted by Morgans.
Yeah,
is that his middle name?
No,
Is it Tom Morgan Peel?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
Why don't you know Peel's middle name? I know Roy's middle name.
I'm not sure he has a middle name.
I don't know the middle name of any of the SoCal Thrones players except Kevin, I think.
So you'll know when you look at each other's passports, right? Because that's what you do when you all travel together, right? You just pass.
Yeah, that's all we do. We just put them in a big box, and then you have to sleep with whoever's passport.
It's like a key party, but it's a passport party. How are we gonna get back?
Who are you traveling with, Roy Rogers? Wait, what?
Okay, so back to the Midwest.
You guys are so easy to take off track. It's fucking amazing.
So back to the Midwest. This was a very good year for Brad and Booker. Brad won a small regional. Booker consistently showed their behavior improved as human beings. So I want to give a round of applause to both of those gentlemen. And it was a good year. In fact, and Luke Wortley as well. Luke also had a good showing. So in general, I actually think the Midwest had the biggest chip on their shoulder after the episode that we did last year.
Definitely.
Where like Luke lost it on me in a White Book episode because Aaron called it flyover country and no one cares about what was on the Midwest but in Missouri.
I like how Luke lost it on you, even though Aaron
they're the whales. They're the whales of
I stand
the
by
continental
that
U.S.
statement.
for sure.
So I can't let this episode go without saying that probably the most improved meta that has really, I think, grown as a competitive scene this year, besides Seattle, is the Midwest. And I think the Midwest is actually shown consistently across our national level tournaments to be more consistent than any other meta.
So and that's combined 18 metas. You guys count for about as much as one real one from where people care about.
How
Congratulations.
Big is the Midwest? So
it's literally all of America.
Okay, you can fit
West Coast, California, you can fit the Midwest.
Nevada,
all of the eight UKs
York,
in
everything in the middle.
Fit like 8 UKs in Texas. So that's a terrible analogy.
So it's like
there's Western Seaboard, Eastern Seaboard. Is literally everything between.
No. It's everything. Okay. I mean, I don't know how well you know U.S. geography, so it's hard to like. It's like
everything west of the colonies. He'll know that. He'll know that.
Yeah, it's like everything west of Pennsylvania until you hit the mountains.
Okay, that's fine. That is quite.
And it's not in the South because we will get to the U.S. South.
I mean, but Missouri is in the South, right? Like, or most of the way
not that
there.
far. No, Missouri's not that far south.
It has
they're not Mississippi. Come on.
Yeah, but anyway, so I would just say probably the best players.
Wait. Missouri and Mississippi are different places.
They are, yeah.
I know it's hard, it's difficult.
So real quick,
are there any Thrones players in the state of Mississippi? Do we know? I can't think of any.
About as many as Wyoming.
Fair.
What's Midwest players is probably
the Thompsons and Luke.
Thompsons and sorry, Luke is probably Booker. Booker has traveled more and placed higher than Luke has.
Yeah, but I hear Miller's about to release new information that gets rid of Booker.
Luke got top 4 in Vegas when he came out
Luke
here.
did really well this year, but Booker I just think went to more tournaments, and I think that's
if it's about travel numbers and miles
it's travel numbers and tournament appearances, to me at least. Yeah. I think Luke's a great player, and I would put him at number 4. But I think just because Luke just can't travel as much, it just holds it back, and I think that's something we'll get to with the Northeast.
So who are your 3?
It would be the Thompsons, and then
one?
Booker.
Like a collective?
No,
1, 2, 2, 1.
American marriage laws.
Booker, Jess.
The Tom's-glomerate.
2 Thompsons, 1 Booker.
2 Thompsons, 1 Booker.
So no Brad, even though Brad flies the flag for Star Wars, which I appreciate.
Brad's not actually good, though.
Don't care.
This isn't a Star Wars podcast, actually. I don't know if you knew.
Oh, it's not.
All right.
This isn't a Thrones podcast.
I thought we were going to talk about Brainiac.
We haven't mentioned
jumps us
cards.
back over,
we haven't talked about
the
Roy.
Yes.
We haven't talked about a fucking single Thrones card. This is just a straight up. This is just a straight up shit talk podcast.
This week's banter is an hour and 15 minutes, and we don't mention a single card.
Yeah, no, that's
it's just shit talking people for nationals.
You stole our idea and put the episode out before then, Bamford.
Actually, Tony stole your idea without knowing I was coming on. So
that's a beyond the wall trick. They used to try and do that to the white book all the time. They'd message me and be like, "What are you guys doing this week?" And then they'd like do the exact same thing we did and release it 2 days before, and it'd be like, "Oh, thanks, guys."
The white book are doing listeners' questions this week. That is a banter thing.
It is, and Will did specifically steal it from Banter. The questions are much more on topic, though, than your questions are. The Spice Girls. Okay, so who's next? So, Isian, you get the picks, since Bamford picked Ireland. Who do you want to talk about for the EU next?
You? What? Me?
Yes.
French meta's pretty big.
Okay.
But I don't know many players from the French meta. I think I met some good people at Fracas this year. John Z and his companions. But they were saying a French meta's they've got like a section of France which is just Night's Watch players.
Ew. Men after my heart.
And they have playing
Provence.
Can we move Roy and Habs there so we don't have to fucking deal with them anymore?
It'll become like a leper colony for Night's Watch players. Ship them out.
They've got a thing in France where whenever anyone plays the wall, they'd give them a standing ovation and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, the wall."
That got really weird at Black.
Fucking hate French people. Holy shit, they're worse than the Midwest.
I live with 2 French people, and they are lovely. So,
but that's because they live in London.
Yeah, one of them's the nicest man in Thrones. So
that's Vince, right? Does he count?
Yeah.
Does he count as French?
Is
or does he count
still
as
playing
British?
in France?
British. LePlante is still playing, yeah.
He is.
I just have to say 2 words, and only Roy will get this. But Stephen Pennington.
Yeah,
I recognize
that's the real nicest man in Thrones.
He's very nice. Yes.
Yeah, like unbelievably.
If we had a
No,
nicest
that's
man in
good.
Thrones contest, definitely Stefan would be there. So
Let's hear who are the top 3 in France? Because I really don't know. And
this is also something Buzz may need to type into chat since Buzz is secretly running things behind the scenes and he knows the French meta pretty well.
Is the little hairy dude still good?
We talk about
Little
LeBlanc.
hairy
Little hairy dude.
Do you mean LePlante?
Yeah, the little hairy dude. You all knew who I was talking about.
I haven't actually seen or heard anything from LePlante in a while. I know he still plays.
I've heard that you're not supposed to deal break him. Is that true?
I know he's a very angry melee player. Lots of people.
Little angry hairy man.
I would put QT at the top.
He's basically French Wolverine, right?
That's a QT probably a good shout.
QT
But again, he only plays Stark.
That's true, actually. And I have no respect for a man who plays Stark. So, scrap that. Cut him. Parachute Vince back in.
There's an Alex who's placed pretty high in a lot of tournaments as well. But he only plays Greyjoy again. He's pretty high up on Jousting Pavilion and I think on the what's it called? Isle of Ravens.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is France is now like a wasteland of Night's Watch, Stark, and Greyjoy. Sounds horrible.
So what you're saying is, what we're saying is France is the Midwest of Europe.
A lot of good decks have actually come out of France though as well.
I mean,
the Hyper Viper deck came from a French player, I believe, who played it at a regional or national or something.
So wait, they played the Wall and Hyper Viper? They sound like the worst kind of people.
I mean, because Hyper Viper started in France, right?
No, it started in Spain and it was refined by a Frenchman.
Okay.
Yeah. Jester's also very good.
Yep.
And he's also very enthusiastic when he talks to me, so that's good. I appreciate that. He likes my podcast. He likes my TOing abilities, which is just like the podcast but louder. So I'm a big fan of Jester, so I'm going to put him at number 2. Buzz has said Garrick and Lanny Stark, and Garrick actually lived upstairs for a while, so I'll definitely but he's moved back to France, so I'll definitely put Garrick at 3 because I have a little.
Are you just running a halfway house for French people?
I really am.
Are you like a French? Are you like a British madame for French people? Is that what's happening?
There's a French flag in our living room. It's really weird.
One day, like when you've lived with them a really long time, you should like be mock jerking off on it when they wake up, and then just see what happens. Just like watch them explode. It'll be fucking phenomenal. And then you can explode, and then everyone will be happy.
Roy, we can't hear you again.
Sorry, I was saying it to Allah. So that was a really in-depth conversation about the French meta. I'm impressed with.
I like it. That's what I wanted to hear, though. That's what I wanted to hear.
So let's see. Let's move on to the next on my list. Is the place that is nearest and dearest to my heart, but has kind of been having a little bit of a rebuilding year, which is the northeast of the United States, which I'm including from Boston, New York, and Jersey. So of those three regions, probably the strongest right now is actually New Jersey, which had a very good showing in the regional season.
Gen Con didn't prove that.
They're the only one with the top 16 from the Northeast.
Sure, but we placed like 5 people in the whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what they called it.
Whatever.
The thing before that.
The graduated cut. Yes, we had myself and Dan Struhal were there. But Dan and I both ran into some variants.
John is Northeast.
Well, John, we'll get to Canada. Canada will get its own discussion. But John is basically New York.
John is definitely New York.
He's a Canadian national, though.
He plays in Canada once a year.
Like Wayne Gretzky, he may play in America, but Canada gets to claim him when we go to the Olympics.
Why do you know that? You grew up in fucking Virginia.
So anyway, but Chris Vack. The Southern Jersey guys did a really good job this year. In Gen Con, they prepped really hard. They placed one of the guys. They only brought 3 guys, and they placed one of them in the top 16, which is really amazing.
Which one was it?
And
Matt.
Who's Matt?
And to be clear,
I live here.
Chris Vack, arguably probably their best player, did not play the first 2 rounds of the joust. He was playing in the Ascension World Championship because he's placed very highly in that, and there's cash on the line for that. But then he realized that the newest Ascension set that they were using is garbage, and dropped the Ascension tournament and took a 0-2 start to play in the Thrones tournament because he was like, I'm that desperate to do something interesting right now. So
he still did
his
1-2
results,
games, I think.
Yeah. So his results are not exactly representative at Gen Con, at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
also 5 rounds, etc. So
yeah, Chris won a regional and placed in the top 8 of I think 2 other ones, and so
I think
didn't he top 4 last year's Red Saturday?
I think Schoenthal is trying to get in Vax pants.
Well, he's already been there, from what I understand.
Actually, he it's my fault he's playing. So
that is not the actual way I thought was going to happen.
Jersey's doing really well. Boston.
I mean, I'd always get in his pants. I would no problem with
that. Boston's in a really big rebuilding year. They lost the Fitches to Parenthood, and that's a big blow to their scene up there.
Are they completely or are they on vacation?
If I was a betting man, and I am a betting man, I would bet that they're not coming back.
They're definitely coming back. They don't have any plans to.
Yeah, they've leveled up into full adulthood.
I'm really sad.
It is sad
because though.
Yeah, they have a very adorable child. But losing Lord and Britt it was a big blow to their community up there. Than and Chris have tried really hard to put it together, but neither Chris is probably the closest to their sort of national plan because Than, as a game designer, doesn't really get to play at Gen Con or
Mark. Does Mark suddenly knock out?
Hold on, I'll get to Mark. But Mark's not like an organizer guy. But Chris didn't have a
He's awesome at playing.
And then Mark, though, I'll get to Mark. Mark is probably the best Boston player right now. But he also doesn't really travel much for Thrones. He only really plays in the Northeast and goes to Gen Con. So again, that kind of doesn't rep Boston. And then New York City, we had a kind of a
do we have any good players? Scott, where are you at?
Scott,
No good players.
So probably the best. So the Brotherhood guys, I've talked to Bamford. I gave him a spoiler of this. The Brotherhood has left Furious Competitive Thrones. Joe will not be defending his World Championship Worlds this year.
Wait, he will not? That's
when you say. What? So I knew they weren't coming, but when you say left, are they just done with the game?
They are not playing on a national level. I spoke to one of their.
So wait, that means I still got to deal with them every time I go drinking?
But
they just play Thrones and not come out to karaoke?
No,
it seems like some real intrigue. Can you give some more insight into that?
No, it's actually not very much intrigue. They don't like FFGOP. They don't want to spend time with FFGOP, and that's why they want to come to our tournaments because they think that the tournaments in the Northeast are well run. And that's it. That's what I was told by James.
Sounds like they're scared.
Now a couple of them do want to play, and are going to integrate themselves sort of in the broader Northeast scene, but the Brotherhood is basically kind of on hold for now. So that's a big blow to the Northeast scene, for better or for worse. And then New York City.
do they still do a podcast? I mean, like, how would anyone know since no one listens?
And then the Northeast, Dan Struhall had a really good year for Dan, who never goes to. He never travels.
Dan.
That's the thing.
That's fair.
Like he won a Star Championship. He did well at all the events that he went to, except for Storm and Star Pike, and he did. Yeah, and so again, I think the Northeast is just we don't have a lot of players on a national level.
I don't feel like you're. I think you missed somebody here. The second most travelingest man in Thrones behind Sandy. Does the Luch get no love at all?
Whoa! The thing about Tom is
Rhode Island
is a region because Tom is a man of America. Like if Sandy is an international man of mystery who has he may have an American passport, but he is not of any meta. Tom Malucci is an American. All right, he wears red, white, and blue. He wears a SoCal shirt, and so
he wears a unicorn shirt.
It's true, but
he's like if LaPlante is France's little tiny hairy man. The Luch is ours. He's our little tiny hairy man.
Okay, so if we're talking about top 3 players in the Northeast, it will be in this order. It will be Tom Malucci, Dan Struhall.
I thought he didn't count. You just said he didn't count, and then you fucking put him first on your list. You're the most wishy-washy piece of shit.
And then
he doesn't count, but he's number 1. What?
He used to have really long hair, so he was hairier. But he's
hairier than his card design.
So Roy's list is, as always, totally fucking wrong. Any list of the Northeast that doesn't have Dan Struhall number 1 is just a stupid list. So Roy, your list is stupid. Tom Malucci is a man of America. I can follow what you said 2 seconds ago, so he doesn't count. Number 2 is Vac, and number 3 is probably you tiny fuck.
Hey, Roy, number 3.
I'm glad you didn't say Sandy. Because,
pretty good for a meta in decline.
Sandy is terrible.
We don't. Roy, 20 euro notes I have.
Well, you might be number 3 in the Northwest.
Fracas, and then paid up before he even left. So
take my money. He's like putting the money in the swear jar before he's even swearing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you might be 3rd in the Midwest, but you're always 2nd in our hearts.
Oh, thank you. I like that.
Northeast, not Midwest.
Northeast.
All right. So jumping back across the ocean.
The pond
is Spain, because Buzz sent us a list of who we should go. Thank you, Buzz. So it would be Spain. I know Spain's going through a bit of a transitional period with sort of Alvaro leaving the scene and losing sort of their spiritual heart there with Battle for the Wall. So what do you guys have to say about where the Spanish meta is right now?
It's really tough because the Spaniards don't really travel as a rule. So you only get to see the Spaniards at Starlek and at Batalla.
Mm-hmm.
Batalla having been 6 months ago, I didn't go. And Starlek being later. It's quite
they didn't travel to Fracas this year?
I actually haven't gone international this year, sadly.
Until Starlek.
I don't think, apart from Starlek, yeah. I don't think there were many Spaniards
I didn't meet many Spaniards at Fracas, so.
And when they do travel, they are quite introverted. They tend to stick to themselves, most of them. So
whatever. Rabs doesn't drink, and he outdrank half of fucking England when I went. No one could drink. They all fell down.
Well, can we talk at least?
I feel like you had a bad experience of drinking in England because none of us knew where to go because all the Londoners had gone. Because at the time there were 2 London Thrones players.
Whatever.
Whammer, who didn't live in London, and Tagore, who doesn't drink.
Look, so what happens when we don't know where to go and we had a bunch of alcohol is you just start putting the alcohol in your face and everyone just started falling asleep. And everyone just. Josh was there?
Josh was in your hotel room. Yeah, he slept in Sandy's bed.
Oh, okay. Fucking A. Yay, Josh.
So can we talk then at least about the Spanish meta in general? Can you guys give a sense, at least in Europe, how the Spanish are viewed post sort of in the post Alvaro period?
They're in decline. They've been in decline since the end of first edition. And
they don't matter until they win Starlek every year.
The bourgeoisie, they're going down.
It's post Philip II all over again.
Yeah, right.
They no longer have a grasp on the throne of England, and now they're just they tried to send their armada over with 2 Spaniards who came to Blackwater, and then they were late back from lunch. Then they lost the game, and then they They dropped.
I played this Spaniard at Blackwater. He dropped after like the first round, I think.
Yeah, they both dropped after 3 rounds when one of them went 0-3. So yeah,
they sound like a sullen meta right now.
Well, they lost their international champion.
Yeah, right.
They did. They're still running like multiple massive tournaments. They've got that Tourney in Dawn. They've got Zaragoza. They've got the new tournament which is replacing Batalla and is held on the same weekend. So hopefully they'll still continue to get the numbers and shit. But
they won't.
You don't really hear much from them, so it's kind of hard to judge. So I guess I'm just going to say that Jeff's the best player in Spain.
Buzz has given us in the chat some players. Buzz has mentioned
played
Xavi and Alqui as possible.
Wait. I've shared a bed with Alqui. No one I've shared a bed.
That's some real nice. That's some good Spanish pronunciation there, Luke.
Like that, Xavi.
Alqui.
Alquimista.
Yeah,
the dragon, bro.
All right, so Spain is one of our in decline metas.
Are we not putting Cabe on the list at all? I like Cabe.
Cabe is really good, yeah. But I don't know how good he is at the moment. He was really good last time I saw him. Did he make Fracas? Do you know, Isian?
I don't know. Can't remember. Doesn't ring a bell, so.
Oh, you would have met him. I've met him twice and seen his penis like 8 times.
Describe the man.
I mean, isn't that just solid in general?
Describe his penis. On air, do it now. I want video evidence.
It was more of a cock or ball situation, so it's kind of hard to describe. It just happened a lot. Amsterdam, eh?
Right. We done with France?
Spain.
Spain, whatever.
Spain. So that jumps us back over here. Next on my list.
Sorry. Promotional considerations are paid for by Kaiser Mobile Notary Services. Support Old Thrones player Chris Kaiser. Look up Kaiser Mobile Notary Services on Facebook.
I hear he's hiring freelance notarists.
All right. So, well, thank you for our sponsors. You can find us on Patreon at the second time. No. So what used to be was viewed somewhat jokingly as competitive Thrones players in the U.S. as a DC meta farm team that has come of their own right in recent years, led by Sam Bratt. So let's talk a little bit about Wisconsin.
So
I think Wisconsin.
Time out. You're full of shit.
Kid.
No.
Kid's not the leader.
Wait.
I love that Sam is the leader.
Point of order. I thought we were switching back and forth between Europe and America, but now we're going straight from Spain to Sweden. I don't understand.
So wait, and they were never viewed as a joke.
I'm joking. I'm giving them a hard time.
No, don't give them a hard time.
I'll give DC a hard time.
No, I mean, Kid is a giant chote, but Bratz is a good stand-up dude.
I love Bratz. I love Kid.
You love Kids? Don't say that on there.
Yeah,
I love Kid.
You love
Kid's
Kids?
way better now. Kid found love, and he found love in his heart also for all human beings.
I think
he's a totally different person. He's a totally
added me
different
on
person.
Facebook. That might not be true, but I'm like 3 or 4.
Kid's a lovely human being. I have had nothing but really pleasant interactions with Kid in the 3 years I've been playing this game.
He was a pleasure to hang out with at Worlds last year.
Apparently, he quit 2.0 according to our chat.
So there we go. Yeah, he did basically say that at Gen Con that he was leaving, which is why I again put Sam as the standard bearer. But Wausau in particular had like 4 people in the top 16 of Gen Con. They were a force to be reckoned with this year. They were
Nick Hansen drove to nationals from Wausau and top aided. I think, and then I'm sure at Worlds they're going to come in force. They represent really well at Worlds. Sam was robbed from progressing further in Worlds. Which
a quick note about Worlds: Sam did forget to register for a ticket in time, so he's like in scramble mode. So hopefully he does actually make it.
When you're the only repeat back-to-back world champion in Game of Thrones, can you get does that get you something?
Sam was not a back-to-back world champion.
The 2.0 core set meta doesn't count.
Yeah,
more of a
side event.
It was a side event.
Side event.
Jakob won in the middle.
Hey, it still counts more than
2 days before or 1 day before.
Yeah, Jakob won the world championship that year. Sam doesn't have back-to-backs. Like, you can't give him that. You really can't.
But it still counts more than every single asshole who got a card designed for overall. That's not a real thing. If you got overall and you
Wait, what about Melee? What about just Melee winner?
You know what? I'll take just Melee. At least you fucking won something.
That's true. At least
overall, when you didn't win Joust or Melee, it's an award for nothing. It's like congrats on losing.
By the way, this is just shade at Alex Hines. This is just an endless shade at Alex Hines.
Also Butzlaff. Also Butzlaff.
A little bit.
For Jones, he doesn't care because that was like his third design. He's like, I don't care. That's fine. You can take that one.
But Jonesy doesn't have a Joust one, does he? He's got draft, Melee, and overall.
Like, Jones does not have the only one that matters. Like the one that really matters, and you better believe Jones feels that. He's like, I don't have the real thing.
So can we lock him down to number 2 in SoCal on principle then? Like Kevin Shannon just jumps him by virtue of like having won a Joust tournament once or twice.
I mean, number 1 on Ryan's list is always Save for God, so I think that should be fine.
Okay, so who do you think though currently are the 3 best Wisconsin players? Because Wisconsin is just a meta on the rise. They're doing great as their own independent force, separate from DC. You can't really link them anymore like you could in sort of the
they're linked to Sweden.
I don't really know them besides like Sam, Nick, and Kid though. So someone who knows them better will have to help me out because that would be.
I also don't know all the different Wassa guys. And I apologize for them.
Sam and Nick, but I'm not sure who 3
Sam and Nick are the ones that stand out in my head, but I met a few other ones at Gen Con, and I just can't remember their names right now. My brain is full of student names these days.
So we're gonna go Sam, Nick.
According to the chat, Kid quit and has only played like 3 tournaments since last year's Worlds.
So Sam, Nick, and somebody else.
And then this chap, Snutty, says that Wausau had 5 out of 7 players make the graduated cut to top 32. Presumably he's talking about Gen Con. He could be talking about a local tournament. I don't know. Gen Con is a local tournament.
It is for them. It's a Midwest local tournament for sure.
And only 2 people were playing with the same deck. Bratz and Kid didn't play it. Of those 5 players, 3 of them made day 2.
And then me, and then we finally know who me is.
And then Snutty says, Bratz is first when he... I was taking the piss, Snutty. I knew it was Gen Con. Bratz is first when he tests decks, and then him, Sean, Nick Hansen, and Ryan Leonard are tied for 2nd and 3rd. Now, I like Ryan Leonard because I valid turn 1 against him and won the game, and that was fun.
I actually think it's a good list.
Ryan Leonard is Tywin's favor.
But
so
I want to send...
Wait, time out. Ryan Leonard is eliminated for the list for fucking managing to lose in 2nd edition when Valor has played turn 1.
No, that was.
This is 1st edition.
Real game. Oh, it's a real game.
The last time I was in the US.
How else would Bamford be playing someone from Wausau?
There was a turn 1 Valor at the in the finals of the Siege of Highgarden that we just went to up in NorCal. That was pretty cool.
Did the person played it win?
The player played the turn 1 Valor, won the game.
Ooh, that's good.
That shit would have SoCal.
So I definitely basically we should throw Wassa down as a really strong meta right now in North America on their own force, not at all they got peacefully separated. They were a partnership with Washington D.C. that went their separate ways and are now happy. They're still friends. But they're not like linked at the hip like they were one day. So Wausau deserves a lot of credit on its own these days. So jumping back over the pond to Poland. All right. So Isian, you were at Fracas. Who are the Poles that we should pay attention to? What's the Polish meta like these days?
Jemiol, he outdrank all of England.
They are very, very good drinkers. But I am not very familiar with the Polish meta because that was my first Fracas, I think.
I like that you were too drunk to know if you've ever been there. Yeah. I might have been there, right? You're so blacked out. Who can fucking...
First night, we just dropped our bags off and went straight to drinking. Let me just check. So I'm not too familiar with the Polish meta myself. Where have we go in? Sorry. Give me a sec.
Poland have had some really good showings at Road to Starlight events recently. Sobi won, I say recently actually, Sobi won Dockside last year. And Jiku,
came welcome to listening, Kyle Vansel.
Third? I think he came 3rd at Batalla.
Kyle Vansel in the chat?
Maybe not.
He just messaged me on Facebook.
Oh.
Well, they had a lot of Polish people in the cut for Fracas. I think there's Wojtek. Wojtek plays Greyjoy a lot. He was a quarter finalist for Fracas. We have Kamil as well. I think he's Polish. Played Lanny, got to the top 4. He's the Lanny Klansman player who got to the semi-finals for Fracas as well, which is a pretty big tournament, nearly 200 players. They've got a lot of Lanny, I think, coming out of Poland. They do play quite a bit as well, but they were primarily, I'm going to say, first edition Bamford.
What, sorry?
Did they have a lot of first edition players?
Most of the ones I knew play first edition because a lot of the other ones haven't travelled much since second edition's come about. So I haven't had a chance to meet them, and I wouldn't recognise their names because they only play in tournaments in Poland.
So the top 3 are therefore Jemiel, Mikal, and Wojtek.
Sure, yeah.
Those are the ones that drank with me, so they're the top 3.
They're the ones.
Why not? Come to Worlds. Is the Polish? Do they have a national champion coming to Worlds?
Hamas.
Are we going to see them there?
Tamas won their nationals, so...
Oh, yeah.
Tamas wins everything.
Tamas, he goes in and he steals all the national things.
Tamas is...
the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, he's the best player.
I did just buy a collection of Polish cards.
Shade. We got Shade from Bamford.
I'm going to throw some shade. Prime example of a great player who only plays one deck.
True.
And therefore, I lose a lot of respect because of that.
He promised he was going to switch, too. He promised that his days of Night's Watch are over. He was going to switch to Targ. And I was like, oh, cool. We're going to see Tomas play something else. And he lied. He lied about it.
Didn't Alvaro do that like every 2 weeks? He was like, look, I'm going to bring this other house to a tournament. No, I'm not.
And it doesn't help that Night's Watch are by far the most boring faction to play with or against. So presumably he just makes his opponents fall asleep and just wins by default.
Default is the best 2 words in the English language, to quote Homer Simpson. So.
Hey, here's something that's important. Roy, I'm going to ask you a question on air. So are you suggesting that James Booker is a better Thrones player than Kyle Vansel in the Midwest? Because that was your list of the Midwest. And you didn't mention Kyle's name, but you had James Booker, who you talked about at length. Do you love James Booker and hate Kyle Vansel?
That is a slur of high proportions. All right, Kyle's. The reason why I ranked Booker higher is because as I've said, it's because Kyle only goes to a few tournaments a year, while Booker has traveled a lot this year. That's it. It is as simple as that. Kyle was on the death shift at night, and that is simply it. I think. If we're going to be brutally honest here, I think Kyle is a fundamentally better player than Booker at Thrones because Kyle's been playing Thrones since he was 6. But Kyle just can't travel. That's the key thing.
I mean, that's not. Let's be clear. Saying he's been playing since he's 6 isn't that big a deal because he's only 14 now. So
yeah. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying right now based on results. All right.
But yet he owns the nicest house of any Thrones player.
That's true. And I love Kyle. And he is one of my favorite Thrones players. But I was trying to be analytic I was speaking with the numbers and not with my heart there. Just like I was trying to do with the Northeast of the United States.
On the topic of Kyle Vansel. And as he's listening, after Worlds 2015, he described himself as the best podcaster in the world. And that is bullshit because I finished above him in the joust. So suck a bit.
Best podcaster at Thrones is Dark Nudge.
Yeah, well, he wasn't there.
Yes.
So
no! I thought we were talking about best podcaster. Okay.
But also going back to Tamas. Tamas is actually moving to the UK in 2 months.
Is he moving into
really?
He's
right upstairs. Right upstairs.
He's moving into Lincoln, which is a weird place to live. But they've got the Magna Carta, which is cool.
Why did you name a place after one of our presidents? That's a weird thing to do.
Okay, we're not
breaking news. Breaking news from England.
Oh my God, we are back to the United States now, to North America, and let's throw. Since we talked about their ex-partner, why don't we throw DC out there right now? I would say that DC is in a pretty big decline right now. Seth himself has had a really good year. Aaron also did really well. Nationals.
All right, it's a 40-person tournament. Let's not pat him on the head too hard. All right.
And then Aaron Broderick, and of course Patrick Haynes are both really fantastic players. But their showing at Gen Con was weak, super weak.
Didn't one of them win your tournament?
They did. Patrick
Haynes is DC. That's crazy.
Or Patrick Reynolds. Sorry. Did I say Patrick Haynes? I apologize.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Patrick Reynolds. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry, Haynes and Reynolds. Anyway, Patrick Reynolds is former North American champion.
Slowest player in the fucking world.
Player in the world.
Holy shit.
He's still fantastic in the game.
Playing him is like playing fucking pond water.
So I actually have to dispute that claim based on the other DC player that I played at Gen Con that I lost on time to that I think was slower than Patrick. I was amazed.
Did Patrick train him?
I think so.
Yeah, there you go.
He trained him well, too.
So Bamford is back there holding a sign for Corey, but you almost can't include. It's like choosing the Wizard of Oz himself as your favorite character in that movie. It doesn't work. Like, he's behind the curtain pulling the strings. He's not the guy. He's not the competitor. Like, he is, but he isn't. Right? He's the mastermind. He's not the guy who wins and gets the glory. He does it melee because that's I think he enjoys it a lot more. But he's not a joust guy. It's just not his thing.
Wait, Danny is my favorite Thrones designer ever. Danny. What the fuck is Danny's last name? Why don't I know?
Schaefer.
Danny's my favorite Thrones designer ever. I think he's like 50 times better than Nate. I think he's about 70 times better than Damon. Like, I think he's better than whoever fucking designed the game and the terrible original stuff. Yeah, Lang. Like, Danny's actually great at this. Like, he's super talented and great at this. But I would trade him in for Corey designing this game in like no time. Like if Corey designed the game,
can we get a Corey and Dan design just cycle? The two of them get together in a room and hang out a cycle. That'd be amazing.
I don't. Yeah, I would also vote to make Corey lead designer, and I also agree that I think Danny is really good for the game and has done a great job.
Say he's better than Nate. You know you want to.
Yeah. I think he's a better. Okay, wait. I think he's a better designer for second edition than Nate is.
Yeah. Now, even though I said, Corey, it's hard to count him as a reason why DC's not in decline. He is and always will be number one in DC. Like, there's no reason to. And like, he has no challenger to that position. But unfortunately, because he is such a kind of a background guy, that the meta is in decline, right? Yeah, he's the wizard, and therefore, like, Dorothy, who is Seth, of course.
Yeah,
is Dorothy, and he's lost, man.
That's the
he can't find the Yellow Brick Road. He needs to find his way back because he's out.
Does that mean that
flying monkeys are all around?
Toto? Is Simone Toto, and he's run off?
Simone is
Simone is the Tin Man frozen out in the woods because he doesn't play and doesn't do anything. He needs some oil. He needs some oil in those joints.
That's way cooler than playing Thrones.
He is a robot.
He makes robots. The Tin Man was a good reference for Simone. So
because he has no heart.
We're being brutally honest. Corey is at number 1, Seth's number 2, and then I'd say Patrick Reynolds is number 3, with Aaron Broderick maybe replacing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would switch those two out.
No, yeah, I mean that's debatable, but
I think Patrick is better, but like at least games with Aaron end. Like, whether you win or lose, at least they end.
Aaron's been pretty successful.
Like, look,
Aaron,
but Aaron just travels more than Patrick.
I've gone some time with 2 players ever, and one was Knights of the Hollow Hill. Dave Stromes was also incredibly slow against like a Bloodthirst deck, so that had to go to time. And one for no fucking reason was just Patrick Reynolds.
But Stromes goes, oh my god, there's 10 minutes left, I'm going to play faster. That's not what Patrick Reynolds does.
so he goes, oh my god, there's 10 minutes left. I'm up by 3 power.
I mean, he's the only person who literally beat me in the first round of first plot round. And then the game still went 45 minutes. Like, the game was over. I should have just conceded. I was just like, your deck is a terrible matchup for my deck. I knew you were going to win as soon as we started this game, but I didn't, because don't concede when you're high up in the rankings, right away. You never know what's going to happen. But no, what happened was I lost, and it still took 45 minutes. All right. So.
Hey, what about actually, number 3 is Rick Brannigan. No one ever puts him on any of these lists because I fucking forget he exists constantly.
True. I don't.
But every time he shows up, I don't think I've ever fucking beaten him. And I've beaten everyone else in DC.
Yeah.
And, he's really good.
Except Corey.
Yeah, I've only played Corey once though. Finding Corey in a tournament's like a fucking unicorn.
Yeah, it's not easy. I did it once at a melee game. Once. It's my only experience with him. One melee game with Corey, and I tried to convince the whole table that he was the target, but he somehow wiggled free. He wiggled free of that and won that table, of course.
Okay. The thing about Corey is Corey's really good at Melee even when he's not colluding with his.
Oh my gosh, he doesn't need a collude. Everyone can be against him, and he'll somehow just like move through the card interactions and find a way to win.
Okay. So back to Europe. We did Poland. So now we're going to go.
I would like to do our second paid announcement.
Okay.
We got to make that sweet podcast money. If you are hearing this, if you are on Twitch, you obviously know this. But if you are on YouTube or listening in the podcast, you need to go to twitch.tv/Jesus with an I, Jesuits Buzz, B-U-Z-Z.
Jesuit, not
Follow.
Oh my god.
Jesus with an I, Buzz.
Jesus Cheese Buzz. No. You need to follow Buzz because then maybe he will stop annoying us with this in the chat every 40 seconds.
All right. So back to Europe. The next on Buzz's list, surprising everyone, is the Wisconsin meta in Europe, Sweden. So Brits, it's not like we have a secret Swede. Speaking of the Wizard of Oz of this podcast / videocast is a Swede. So who besides Buzz are the people in where's the Swedish meta right now?
Because Buzz has been absent. Like Buzz has not been in the scene for a while besides this podcast. So
like watching League of Legends takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of time.
It does.
Well, he's not going to say anything. He doesn't even have a mic on. So what?
So Isian, were there any Swedes at Fracas this year?
No. Hang on. No, I didn't meet any Swedes. I didn't play against any Swedes.
Jesus with an I says there were. So.
Oh. But they weren't high up, I guess. Buzz.
Can that be his new name?
Because the ninth place player didn't catch wind of you.
Linus Pear. I assume that's Per Engström.
I know Ryback. Ryback's been doing.
Andres Ryback was out there.
Andres is very good.
Ryback's got to be number one from Sweden, right?
Linus finished 18th, and who else was it?
Jakob's had kind of a rough year finishing wise. Like he hasn't really.
Are we sure
been able to take one home?
Jakob
he still plays. Like he still plays. He's still playing.
Oh, he's still playing.
Yeah, they recorded a Great Beards of Westeros live today.
They did. Buzz cheated on us and did a podcast earlier today because Buzz's channel, I get live notifications when he goes live on my phone.
That's why it's Jesus with an I. The I is for whore.
So this is where we get. I'm sure this is showing up in chat because I'm sure Buzz has very strong opinions about who the best Swedes are. But so our 2 Euros here. So I only know I've only met Buzz and Jakob and.
So Buzz says he will post his top 3 after the two British fellows tell us theirs.
All right. So Britain, best Swedes.
No. I haven't really played.
No. Isian's taking a pass. He's taking a pass on this one. Bamford, what do you got?
Ryback, Holtman, and Linda.
Ooh, can I do my 3?
I honestly don't know anybody.
They're Bratz, Hansen, and
Leonard.
That's still Ryback, yeah.
No, you give Ryback 3 in that.
Ryback's 3. Okay. All right. Did Buzz put his in chat then? Someone should probably read it if he's.
Buzz's top 3 are Jakob, the other Jakob Whaleman. I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's got a cool accent mark on the A. And
so we have 2 Jakobs.
Are the Jakob the first, Mr. Holtman, and Per Engström, with honorable mentions to Ryback and Linus.
Well, he puts them out of the top 3. Interesting.
3.5.
Interesting.
Somebody also. It looks like Dave in chat mentioned Tupac, who we haven't brought up. He came on like gangbusters at Worlds, but has he done a lot since then?
The point is that Evan and Roy are Norwegian and Tupac is Finnish. So it's just.
It was a little racist joke there. Got it.
Okay. Is it racist or is it just
countryist?
Yeah, it's geographicalist and something there. Yeah.
All right.
All those Scandies.
So, any more Swede thoughts from our puppet master Buzz before we move on? We jump back across to North America.
I'd just like to say I hope Buzz can crack that list again someday. I'd like to see Buzz back on the horse.
Me too. Same. I'd like to see him back on this side of the pond as well.
I saw Buzz lose to Bartek.
Buzz would like to note that we told him not to name himself, so he didn't count himself.
Oh, he wouldn't either. He hasn't played in like a year. I think he's not that conceited. He knows. He knows he's got work to do.
But the last tournament he played in was that French one that he won.
But he played at
Was
Stolic.
that can't be the last one he played in. No,
He had a bye at Stolic last year, so he
didn't play. That's because he had a bye.
That's how
Bamford, did he play at Stolic last year?
One
Did Buzz
over.
play
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, there we go.
He won
All
his
right.
first game for sure.
For sure. Absolutely. Won the first round. Knocked out of the park. All right. So let's be completely honest here. Let's move to a region of the United States. It's sort of the last region that we're going to talk about for the U.S. Is the U.S. South, which I'm going to be brutally honest here. I come from Virginia originally. Is the weakest.
Wasn't Virginia part of the Union?
It was not. It did secede from the Union.
The Old Dominion, right?
The Old Dominion, the oldest European settlement in north of the Rio Grande in Virginia. My beloved Virginia, which doesn't have a meta.
Can you tell us more interesting facts about Virginia?
No, I cannot. I mean, I can, but I won't. But the U.S. South is the weakest region in the United States now. I think it definitely is weaker than the Pacific Northwest. Sorry, Scantrell. I love you, Steve, but
why?
Florida,
Wait.
Florida,
Why?
I like
Why?
Steve.
Why?
But I like Steve. He's a nice
Why?
guy. Oh my God.
I like
I'm
Steve
not
too.
gonna
He's
explain
fine.
why. All right, so
But he's the only person that I know who plays
and
there.
like there's Nate.
The-
So I have exactly one nationally traveling player, and that's Nate Tarantelli, who I consider a Southerner because he's
Wait,
in
where's he from? Tennessee?
Nate Tarantelli's not from Tennessee.
Yeah, he is.
Are
He's
we
from
even
Ohio.
calling Tennessee?
I thought he was
No,
in
no, no.
Tennessee.
No, he's from Ohio, dude. The scummy racist Nate is from Tennessee.
Oh,
Yeah, because Tarantelli was like, at
My brain, for
Origins,
some
and
reason,
he
I have
lives
him in
near
Tennessee.
Origins,
No,
which is
no,
in Columbus.
Tarantelli
Well, I mean,
is
but here's the
definitely
thing:
from
you
Ohio.
can live near Origins and be in Tennessee. Or I guess you can not technically. It's good.
No, he lives. I'm not kidding. He lives in
lives
Ohio.
in Columbus.
Sandy's
Lives in
known
Ohio.
him since he was like fucking 14 years old because they played Thrones
So
together.
I'm sorry, Nate. Like the Nate should be in my Midwest because Nate, I just think remains.
Yeah, like
Fantastic.
unless you want to put racist Nate.
Then
into your
you know what?
conference.
Let me be completely honest. Then the U.S. South then has the Rosarios as the only nationally
and
recognizable.
they're New Yorkers.
And they're and Lauren in particular is a very underrated player. She didn't have the best Gen Con this year, but she still finished 3-2. And
Which shouldn't be the end of your Gen Con, but whatever.
yeah, I agree. But the U.S. South needs to represent. Like, let's be completely honest here. Like, this is the region of the U.S. I'm throwing the most shade at. Like, they need to bring their A game in 2017, 2018.
You're too busy holding clan rallies, Roy.
Getting hurricaned.
Twice,
Yeah.
both parts of the U.S. South. But all of this stuff happened before the hurricane, so we can't blame the hurricane.
They've been competitively hollow long before Irma arrived.
I mean,
Didn't happen before racism.
like I'm saying this with a great deal of love, but it is the most competitive.
Why would you love them? Why would you love them? You don't even know. You know two people there. Why would you love them? Fuck them.
You know, Scantrell, he knows three.
Scantrell. Oh yeah. Okay. The Rosarios. I counted them as one for reasons.
There are at least three Rosarios.
Does Tyler still play? Do we know if Tyler still plays? Tyler was really good.
I don't think he still plays. I would actually have to ask Lauren, but he wasn't at Gen Con this year.
Yeah, but he's a teacher, and they start really fucking early.
Yeah.
So the years he made it were the aberration, not him not being there.
Yeah, no, I'm again not throwing shade at his abilities. Tyler's a great guy, but
Second, if I still have him on Facebook, I'll message him and be like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
So yeah, the U.S. South is the worst region in our country, and I'm not going to actually list the top 3 players because there's just Lauren.
Lauren's two. Lauren's two all by herself. There you go.
True.
There you go.
Right now,
Kevin Shee.
Lauren and
Kevin Shee, I think, is in Texas, but Kevin wasn't at Gen Con this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen him around.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
I always bug him for foreign cards, and I haven't seen him since. I actually haven't seen him at all in second edition.
Hey, Kyle says
Brian Moreno is in Texas, and he travels regularly, but is not necessarily a top flight player. But he's very.
But Brian is solid though. Like he's a solid player. So Brian can go on there. He can go right under Lauren. We got Lauren and we got Brian.
Hey, and then
we'll Kevin Shee in there.
Number 3 for Kyle is going to be Will. Will is insisting that Tulsa and Will both count as the South.
Okay, if Will wants to count himself as the South, Will could be the
Kyle
could be the best.
Is counting Will as the South.
Oh,
Kyle
okay.
isn't actually Will's conscience or anything.
Okay, so if Kyle says then Will Lentz is the 3rd best player in the U.S. South.
Man,
All right,
the
there we go.
USL is really.
So we have Lauren Rosario, Brian,
There's
and
a sheep. There's a sheep on our stream, just to be clear.
There's a sheep on our stream?
There was.
It was a lamb. Technically, that was a lamb. I don't want you to
All right.
Carrying on with the
mislabel her.
theme.
All right.
Did
She
Mario-
self-identifies as a lamb.
We're carrying
right?
forward.
I think
carrying
Archie
forward.
has resting sex face.
Yes.
What?
That's what Alice said while we were watching Riverdale today.
Okay.
Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe in general. So buzz through Eastern Europe.
Who's that? That's Sports and who else?
Lyric.
That's Sports.
No. Tama is the best player in
Tomas.
Europe. I will admit that. Yeah. Isians, you're from Eastern
Because
Europe, right?
Tomas is Hungary,
Yeah.
right?
So Isian, do you have any insights into the Eastern European meta in general? Since Buzz has grouped you all into a broad swath of the East compared to the West.
I'm the only Albanian player, I suppose. Meta of one, top of my meta.
There you go. And you get to be one of the top UK players, so that just
Crossover
explains a
appeal,
lot
yeah.
about the recent political situation.
Yeah, probably.
So-
What's it called? Tamas is probably the best Eastern European player, I think. Then
Not
followed
counting
by the Russians, huh?
Not counting Poland, which we did separately, of course.
Wait,
No,
there's,
Separate
there's,
because
Yeah,
Caracas.
there's Russians that play Thrones?
Yeah, Larrick and Larrick's Russian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Larrick is
Yeah.
not one of the top anything.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's the top pedantic rules lawyer we have.
Yeah.
And-
I've never actually heard of him
Excuse me,
performing
did
in a
Al-
tournament or playing in a tournament, so I'm not sure.
Did
That-
Alex Hines die? Because Alex Hines, look, I don't defend Alex about a lot, but if we're talking pedantic rules lawyers, he's
Look,
number 1,
Alex
2,
has
3.
been slipping in the pedantic
He's
rules
like
lawyer.
KRS
Yeah,
One.
for sure.
He's not number 1. He's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
No, if we're ranking pedantic rules meta, Alex is 2 at best right now.
Yeah, yeah.
At best, he's 2.
He's really
No,
slipped.
number 1
Yeah.
for
He's too
eternity.
busy trying to figure out how to do rotation.
The only person who's close to Alex Hines is the much missed, much maligned K-Tom. Let's pour one out for K-Tom.
You're talking about the Iowa World's official judge, K-Tom?
Is he seriously?
But
Yeah.
K-Tom's. Oh, not
Someone-
Bailey's. Not Bailey's, Banford. Oh, no.
Someone fly me to
not
Iowa.
Bailey's. Oh,
I'm
no. It's dark
Banford, bring
times.
some of that to the
Dark
castle. I love
times
Bailey's.
over there. Not
All
just
right.
straight. You don't just drink
So,
Bailey's.
so we have.
Why
So
not?
here's what we currently have. We have for top 3 players is Tomas. We have Isian, and then we have Lyric or Lyric.
What about
So are we really
can't
gonna let
count
Lyric rest?
no,
at a
there
spot
must
that
be
aren't
someone
great?
else who actually plays in tournaments that we know.
Ispan?
Istvan? There we go. Boom. Lyric's gone.
Who?
Istvan, the designated.
Istvan? You mean Mr. Humongous?
Yeah, he's the sexiest
Lord
man.
Humongous.
Lord Humongous? Ooh, I love that we have a
Wait,
Lord.
can he actually hold a candle to Jakob as the sexiest man in Thrones?
Like
well, he
big,
spent all
muscly kind of sexy.
he spent
Okay,
all of Fracas with his top off. So
And you don't even mind.
I don't even think Jakob would do that. Wow, that's.
I think
that's
the only thing he had on at Fracas was shorts. That's it.
I like this guy.
That is a man after my own heart. All right, so
Hey, what happened to do Iron and Drakey still play?
Firstly, they're Finnish. But no, I don't think they do.
Yeah, you act like that area of
Finland
Europe is
is
the Midwest.
not usually considered Eastern Europe in
Geography.
in geography, but
So it will be Tupac and Iron Drakey. And the chap who made that Mace Tyrell deck that Buzz played at Starlek 2 years ago. They're the Finnish players.
Whose name we don't know or care.
I forget.
um,
I was going to say... I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. So that's fine.
all right. Okay, so that drops us off to the last North American region we're going to talk about, which is Canada. And by Canada, we actually basically just mean Toronto because we play tapped Buzz. Beyond the Wall died. Darknage is Canadian. Like I said, he's the Wayne Gretzky. He plays for New York City, but is still technically Canadian, so gets counted with the Canadian meta. And Darknage is nowhere near at his most competitive. Alex is a full-time scientist, proofreader, dad.
Father?
Yeah, I was getting there. Dad. so he doesn't play as much. So that basically, and the FFG killed off the Atlantic Canadian meta by not giving them a regional, and no one ever really played on the West Coast, as they found when there were more Americans than Canadians at Canadian Nationals last year. So that basically just leaves the Toronto guys headline, and Toronto. It's a little bit of a rebuilding year because again, the big personalities have sort of left, and people haven't built themselves up. But
apparently Hines plays every week. He just doesn't travel, according to our chat.
Well, which is fine, but again, we're measuring things based on their national and international reputations. And if Hines is just playing in Hamilton,
maybe he's crushing his 4-player weekly game night, but that doesn't crack the list.
I consider Alex a good friend, but I'm still just saying that's how it is. But the Toronto guys in general did really well this year at Gen Con. They were very well positioned. They built with the champion Alex Black, particularly Kevin Austin. I played against him, and he, I think, ended up in the top 8. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then just in general, I think that the Toronto guys and sort of Rob St. John is their sort of champion and sort of flag bearer for the sort of Canadian scene, but he's also kind of just a big Thrones personality. So I just think basically, and Montreal, I know is still very active, but the Montreal guys didn't have the best year at Gen Con. A bunch of them played Destiny instead of Thrones.
I wouldn't have the best year at Gen Con either if I'd played Destiny. My gosh.
Right, but the ones that did play didn't do all that great. But Philippe, when he did come down to Rochester, played really well, and still I know plays actively. But I think even Philippe was telling me that the Montreal scene has died a little bit down from its sort of competitive peak. So again, I think Canada in general is
that was the first meta to hate FFG.
Yeah, I mean I know Pete Wilson. I saw him briefly at Gen Con. He's full on plays any card game that isn't Magic that he can make money at. So he's playing Destiny. So they're good. I think Toronto is in a very strong place, but they're also in a rebuilding period.
Yeah, I don't know that they're in a very strong place. Also, they're incredibly stingy with their shirts. They have a really nice North Remembers shirt with the Stark Direwolf with the Canadian flag laid over it, and I asked a couple of them if they were interested in selling one in my size, and they told me it was a very exclusive item. So they're on my shit list for that.
Okay, and that's a good reason to be on Schoenthal's shit list, I think.
Do we have a top 3 for them, or are they just kind of the Toronto guys that are still good?
I mean, that's you're demanding Roy, whose brain is full of trying to memorize an entire school's worth of students. So
you don't know your class list yet, Roy? Get on.
Oh my God, we just got our class list. I just got my final one today for all my classes, Sid. And you forget, we admit new students every 9 weeks. So
9 weeks. Come on. All right. Who do we still have in Europe?
The last region that Buzz put in was the Netherlands and Belgium, the Low Countries.
Did I step away for Italy? Did I miss Italy?
Italy is not on Buzz's list, but we can talk about Italy.
Wait, an Italian was the finalist at Worlds last year, right?
I'm just saying. I'm looking at Buzz's list. I'm staring at it right here. It's in the chat.
Buzz, no Italy love?
It's on Buzz's list on the second.
He also just posted.
Roy,
also just posted.
There it is, Roy. I blame you.
Oh, excuse me. There's a supplementary list.
An addendum. It was an addendum.
An addendum. I'm sorry, Buzz. All right, so we have the Netherlands and Italy left. I apologize. Netherlands and Belgium. So, Greece.
There's plenty of European countries left. Portugal. I don't actually know any Portuguese players.
All right, we're all Europe all the time now.
Is Louise Portuguese or Brazilian?
Brazilian.
Okay.
Brazilian.
Sadly. Yeah.
If we want to break it up, I can add one more U.S. meta. So
okay, we can do that. So who do we want to talk about? So of the options there, Bamford threw out Greece, Italy, and Netherlands. So Netherlands, boom,
and Belgium.
And Belgium.
There's a former Starlight champion in Belgium, Jesus, but I don't know if he still plays. But of course, there's a former overall Starlight champion in the Netherlands, Reese, and I would say he is the best player in the Low Countries, but only on his day, when he actually takes the time to think about what he's doing and play a reasonable deck. Reese is one of the best players out there. He doesn't do that.
We had a Belgian player make the cut, I think, top 16 at what was it, Battle of Blackwater? Jonas?
Yep, he's good.
He was pretty good. He played Martel Wolf, I think.
What about Don?
I haven't seen so much from Don recently. He came second at Dockside. Certainly. Reese said that the best player in the Netherlands at the moment is Frankie.
Oh, Frankie Rodders, yeah. I played him.
So for me, it would be Frankie, Reese, and probably Bambi at the moment, who seems to be a lot more consistent than Donovan. I don't know enough from Jonas to make a decision on him.
That's fair enough.
But he did do very well at Blackwater.
I played Frankie.
But it was competitively hollow. So
what can we say?
Yeah. Do we put Tupac and the Finnish people in here, or
we can do that? You want to do Finland, and then we'll go to North America. Chris has one more person.
I mean, we're doing like 3 countries at this point.
Finland is Tupac, and then Aaron Drakey, who I don't think they play, and that other chap whose name I forget, and I don't think he plays.
Tupac's worth a mention, though. Pretty good player.
Yeah. I met Tupac at Worlds. He was a really nice guy.
Yes,
and good, great. Obviously. He did well at Worlds.
He did? All right. Well,
he was also the Finnish guy's called Jonas as well. Yeah. Buzz has just put that in the...
all right. Schoenthal. Who did I forget in North America? Mexico?
I don't know that you forgot them necessarily. It's funny you mentioned Mexico. We have one player who lives in Mexicali that comes to a few of our events. His name is Emmanuel. He actually came to Gen Con last year. Or what was it, Gen Con? It might have been Worlds.
No, he was at Worlds. He was at Worlds last year. I met him at Worlds.
So he's basically, he has his own local meta, but they have trouble getting cards. So that was not the meta I was thinking of. The meta I was thinking of was more to our east, and that would be Las Vegas. The Vegas meta is kind of up and coming, if you will. They had their own regional this year.
They did.
Fred Bird from Las Vegas has traveled to an insane number of events. He traveled to nationals. He traveled to our regionals. He traveled to Gen Con, literally just for Thrones. Like, he flew out the day before and then flew back the day of the tournament.
It's amazing. I don't know anyone who travels to Gen Con just for Thrones.
He came to Kubla and placed really well at Kubla also.
Sandy?
He did. Yeah, he did. And he was the unfortunate or fortunate, depending on your interpretation, 17th player at Gen Con that got Matt Lay's spot in the cut and played against Kyle Vansel. But they have several more players. They have a weekly meeting, and they have a lot of potential as a group. And there's some concern that they're going to lose a couple of their players over L5R. But if they don't, and they keep building that up, I could see Las Vegas becoming a serious competitive area.
I think every meta's got L5R hanging over their heads, to be honest.
Sure, that's fair. But when it's a smaller meta and you lose, a fifth of your players instead of a 12th or something, it's a tougher blow.
Do we have L5R hanging over our head this year? Are there any players who might actually leave?
Hey,
I mean, obviously Wama, right? He's going to.
Schumer and Pelosi announced a deal with Trump to protect young immigrants. That will include border security, but no wall.
I mean, we've got a few players leaving. Well,
no wall sounds good. That's what we want. No wall ever in anything in life in card games.
Wait a minute. What about Hadrian's? Let's get
Hadrian's is a ruin now. It got knocked down. It's fine.
That's just an example of what should happen to walls, right? Right, Bamford?
That is actually as far north as I've been.
Is Hadrian's where
You've never been north of the wall, or just north of the wall?
I've been to Scotland.
No, I've walked the wall, but I've never been.
You've been to the U.S. and you've been to mainland Europe, but you haven't been to Scotland.
Yeah, I think I've been north of the wall technically because it's actually like halfway through the northern English counties. Like it's still England.
Are you going
I've
to
never been to Scotland.
The Road to Stahleck event in Scotland?
If I can get the Friday and Monday off, then yes.
So Bamford has been to Roseville, Minnesota, but he's never gone up country enough to Scotland. Wow.
My parents live near Corby, which is basically Scotland. It's got the biggest Rangers-Celtic divide outside of Glasgow. And they sell
this is like that Virginia trivia.
It's basically Scotland. So I've had quite enough of Scotland when I go to my parents' house.
It's like how Chicago's the Poland of the U.S.
All right.
I say that as a Polish person who spent time in Chicago.
Jumping back, what did we say? Why don't we do Italy then? Italy had a great representation at Worlds last year.
I'm curious about Italy.
Oh, Giovanni, yeah.
Yeah, I mean he made it, right? Top 2. He couldn't do it. He couldn't slay the beast, but
he couldn't slay the beast. Broke my heart live on stream. Broke Dave's heart. Broke Craven's heart. And Peel literally shut his computer. We thought he died at the final. He just disappeared in the middle of our conversation. So
we were all sitting at Sensors along with DC. Like us, like SoCal and DC strangely came together over our hope that Joe would lose that game to Giovanni. And when Joe kind of walked into an obvious looking Dracarys trap, we all kind of went, "This is it. This is the moment Giovanni wins." And he didn't have the Dracarys. And there was like this collective sigh. And we all went, "Oh, I think he just lost then." It was so sad. Such a sad moment.
It was a very George R. R. Martin moment where you think that Quentin is gonna get that dragon, and the story's going to change, and everything's going to happen, and then gets eaten by the dragon.
So, no, Joe Miranda is basically Walder Frey. I feel like I'm comfortable with that comparison.
You see what Knight's King?
No, he's not. Yeah. He's not important enough to be the Knight's King.
Fair enough.
Eric Butzlaff.
He's a subplot. He's a subplot at best.
Played for one big one of them.
What else do we got here? So Italy. So we have Giovanni, who I guess is the best known Italian to Americans, as a heartbreaker. So who else from Italy?
So Marco Guida, who used to live in the UK, he is always moaning in our group chats about coming second in everything he goes to.
But everyone else there speaks Italian, so he could just be lying. You would never know.
Presumably, there's someone that's better than Marco, and Marco's very good. So those 3 guys.
Hey, what happened to Vincent?
Vincent's French.
Oh, really?
And he lives upstairs. He's
right. Also, Federico.
Wake him up.
Oh, Federico.
Federico Fasulo, I think, as well. He's pretty good.
I remember Fas. Hey, we didn't talk about Trig at all. I don't know where we were supposed to talk about Trig, but we never mentioned Germany. Oh, is Germany its own thing? Germany's on our list.
Is it in Buzz's list, or am I again going to be thrown under the bus by Buzz, and he's going to add...
he's Greek, says Buzz.
Yeah. He's German for the purposes
of
this.
All right. Okay, just looking at our group chat, it's France, Spain, Poland, Sweden, Eastern Europe, the low countries, Italy. There is no Germany. Just to be clear, there's no Germany there. All right, so I'm not just Buzz. So we'll go to Germany. We're just adding countries.
Germany. That's right. We'll just hit them as we go.
All right, so that's Italy, right? Did we do Italy?
Yeah.
So Greece, and then we'll go to Germany.
I actually, Tassos is fantastic. I don't know how to say a second name, so I won't. Tassos is really good. There was a decent Greek contingent at Euros, and they did fairly well, I think.
They're the ones that ran into the DQ though for showing up late.
No, they were the Czechs.
It was the Czechs.
Yeah, the Greeks did really well at the team event, which is kind of dodgy because they organised it.
Yes.
And no one really cared. Unlike the team event at the Starlet, no one cared about the Euros. So.
We don't know the names for any other metas. We can stop now.
No, I do know names for Germany, so that's fine.
Okay.
We're gonna go. So we got Greece down then. So we're gonna hit Germany, and that'll be it. I have a couple. We've got a couple of sort of finish up points, and then we'll be good.
So, best player in Germany at the moment is Yannis Rofert.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Sure. I met him a couple of years ago at Starlet, where he beat me, and then he lost his next game, and I won my next game. And then the entire rest of the day, we moved up and down the tables, sat next to each other, and it was fantastic. And ever since then, I love that guy. And he's really come into his own in the last 18 months, especially. And he's winning things left, right, and centre.
He's the guy who beat me in the second edition Octagon tournament when those existed.
Well, I was commentating it with Buzz.
Oh. Rolled my face.
Yeah, it was intense.
It was a whooping. He's good.
Daniel Goebel is very good, and of course, you wouldn't be able to mention players in Germany without talking about Trig.
Oh wait,
Although
is there?
I don't know how much Trig is playing now. He's
Is he's the man we have to blame for the Eerie being in every Lanny Reigns deck in second edition now. So, thank you, Trig? Question mark. Like,
Hey.
I mean, it's better than blaming him for Bloodthirst, right? Like,
it's true. Or blaming him for the attachment deck, which New York stole from him in the last Gen Con, first edition. Yeah, I mean,
the Ceres attachment deck.
Yep, that Sandy and played to a good record, and Dennis outplayed himself, and should have been in the cut, but he tried to three-dimensional chess it and screwed. If he'd just done the game plan that had won him all those other games, he would have been in the cut. But the past is the past, as they say. All right, so wrapping this up, what do you think from our discussion is the strong? All right, and please, gentlemen, try to be as dispassionate as you can without just saying California when I say this or the UK. Who do you think is the strongest meta in North America? And what do you think is the strongest meta in Europe? And we'll start with our guests. So who wants to start up there?
I would say that SoCal is the strongest meta in North America. And it's not just because I have a man crush on Johnny Wright.
Checks in the mail, Dave.
Thank you. The strongest meta in the world is, of course, Brigstock, when you count me. 5 players, 5 cuts at Worlds and Starlek. That's pretty good for a village with a population of 1,000. And only 4 of those cuts are mine.
All right. Ben Hanford, you include yourself, so you just excluded yourself from the rest of the discussion. All right, drop him from the call. All right, Isian.
I think SoCal as well, probably for America, and London. The keys meta, I think, for UK probably the best, just because of competitiveness in the UK and social interactions as well with the whole meta.
Your check's in the mail.
We'll go to Aaron since he's the most ill-informed of the Americans.
I think SoCal's really the wrong answer. It's Wausau. Like by far. Like I don't think SoCal's even close to Wausau. I don't think it's close. I think SoCal gets the boost because it's Cal, and whenever anyone hears Cal, they associate North and SoCal. And if you combine the two, it's fine. But like if you separate them, Wausau's just better. Like, they've just got a better record. They've got fewer guys who do better consistently. Better. Straight up better. Roll your face off. In the meantime, in Europe...
What record are you making up? I'm just curious.
At every tournament ever. Since Eric Lang dreamt up Thrones, Wausau's just been owning you guys' face. Sam Bratz didn't know how to play the game in one world.
Technically, Corey is Wisconsin, so I mean that's where
Corey
he's
was
from.
actually raised in Wisconsin. Like the game designer of our heart is from Wisconsin. Like you lose. And if Corey's from Wisconsin, is Dan not?
He's from Oregon.
That's not a real place. Don't make shit up. So. Sweden's not the best either, Buzz. You cut that bullshit out. Germany is the best European meta. Like, they seem to not travel a lot, but every time they do anything, they fucking kick everyone's ass. Germany wins.
Nah.
Are you talking about Thrones or just like
Germany?
Wars.
All right, Chris, since you spoke, Chris, who would you pick?
Aaron's obviously wrong. It's SoCal.
Okay.
I'd happily take our top players basically against anyone.
I mean, even their retired player Kid is better than your retired player Bruno. So you got nothing.
Now I know you're just super obviously trolling.
Okay.
I wasn't at first, but now I am.
All right. So,
then
Europe. Who are you most afraid of?
Europe's tougher. I'd say whatever region we're calling Albeck from, since he's moving, is probably up there. Like either he or the Swedish.
Going forward.
There you go.
So,
now we can just our checks will pass each other in the mail. It'll be great.
So, you know who we actually left out of this discussion? Where's Florian?
Oh, he's German. I forgot about Florian completely.
Yeah. So I'm right. Yeah. Well, Janice and Florian to that top 3 of Buzz, and then Germany.
Sid.
Well, I'll basically say what's been said. It is SoCal, but I think I feel like right now, especially like SoCal and NorCal are really blending more than they've ever blended before. And I don't want to say they're the same. I mean, we're one state, so I'll claim the whole state and say California because we all go to each other's tournaments, and then maybe that's unfair because it's just too many good people. But if the whole Midwest gets to be one area, we get our state. So I'm going to say California is the most competitive place to play Thrones in America by far.
Yeah,
whether you're coming to Thrones War or Kubla or any random store championship of like 35 people all cutting each other's throat to win.
Do you guys have? I mean, you guys have Schoenthal's Gen Con win, and then like you just don't have Joust wins.
I mean,
like if that's the only game that matters, he doesn't play.
Oh, I mean,
he doesn't play
right now. No, not now. Oh, okay. So how far back are we going with Wausau?
Yeah, I don't.
Because
Sam.
Yeah, Bratz with his 800 wins.
Okay, Sam's was a 1.0 championship. Like that's like how far back are we going? We're going to one. If we're going to 1.0, then I can claim Bruno. All right. Pull your head out of here.
Then you're even.
Bruno's a Star Wars player. Yeah.
If you're about Joust,
you're a best.
Bruno's a Star Wars player.
He's a Destiny player.
He kind of is. He kind of is a Destiny player.
You go to a big Thrones tournament, California's in the cut. They just are. Like that's where they belong these days. Now, having said that, I really look forward to California like proving themselves in Stalac. Like this is the moment that I can't wait to watch. I'm so happy that there's no pressure on me and I'm not going. I'm ecstatic about that. I'm so happy just to watch. But I think they're going to crush. I mean, I think they're going to do really well. And then we'll get a nice little picture of what these metas look like. In terms of Europe, I mean, because I'm an outsider, so I'll say I just really think like the kind of Northern European groups are so good and so solid. I really dig them. Sorry, UK. I'm just going to say this because it's something different to say. I know you guys are awesome. It's no offense meant because I have played 0 tournaments in Europe. But watching just Sweden and Finland, like, and I have played with those guys at Worlds, and they're all like really good. So I'm going to give them a little love.
So, all right, a slightly different question. Who's got the best top 3 to 5?
Top 3 of 5?
Top 3 to 5. Like top. Who's the most top heavy?
Brookstock. Brookstock is completely top heavy.
Because it's you.
It's got me.
It's still I'll answer Aaron's question. Germany. Germany is very top heavy, and then I think actually Wisconsin is pretty top heavy too.
I think I made Roy agree
so
with
much
me.
slurping in Wisconsin.
But actually, so what I'll say is this: I was actually not going to answer. I will answer both of these with my heart, which is that the Midwest, I actually think of the United States, is the strongest region and meta right now. It's disparate, but it's got a lot of talent that is climbing.
That's because we won't define it. Like we named like 35 individual countries in Europe, and we can't go like the Midwest, like the middle 3/4 of our country is one region.
Well, but here's the thing.
It's not fair.
Chris, you have hit the paradox of Thrones in North America on the head, which it is we don't have the cohesion that the Europeans have. And then I'm going to go with my heart again, and I'm going to have to say, simply because I would not have done it well at all this regional season without these people, it would be the UK. All right, because I owe Wama a great debt for giving me builders and allowing me to foolishly take it to the US regional season and allowing me to do my top 4 and my top 8. So I got to say the UK. Both come with my heart, which is I do think the Midwest, and we're going to be talking about the Midwest guys for good reasons for the first time in 2.0 in 2017, 2018.
In 2023, they'll finally get there.
They'll finally get there one day.
You'll matter one day. New York will expand.
So that kind of brings our discussion to the end. There's one other sort of product placement announcement, which is, and I guess Sid and I actually also have an announcement that we're going to be finalizing details, but we can really say it's going to happen. So the big thing is I am going to both Worlds and IO Worlds this year.
Wait, you're going to both, Roy?
Yeah, I'm going to both.
Okay, because we talked about... All right.
I just found out today, Chris, that I got the time off for the whole thing. So I will be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
How are you getting to Iowa Worlds?
Tommy is driving. I knock on wood. I'm finalizing that, but Tommy is driving me, I believe, from Minnesota.
Let's chat.
Let's chat. We will chat. So I'm doing the whole thing. So I'll be at both, and you really should come to Iowa Worlds.
No doubt.
No doubt.
It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna do Iowa Worlds no matter what if I didn't get the time off. So because it's on a weekend, unlike Thrones World Championship, but I'll be at Worlds this year. Sid, what are you and I doing at Worlds this year besides trying really hard to get a card design for Joust?
I guess we're gonna try and host a Second Sons party. We're gonna do it. That's right. Second Son sponsored party Thursday night, I believe, is our target. Location still TBD, probably censors, but TBD.
Maybe we could Sid has some ideas.
I do have some ideas that may involve like a party bus going somewhere else, which could be awesome. So yeah, TBD. But save Thursday night, everyone who's coming to Worlds and listening to this, because we want to hang out with you. We want to have a big party with everyone who's not only a listener, but just all the cool people who come to Worlds and hang out.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now?
Not get that?
Yo, guys,
breaking up real bad.
No, we got the whole thing. I heard every word he said because I want to go to sleep. So hurry the fuck up.
We are going to kill it now. So I want to
stay tuned for details.
I want to so come to Iowa Worlds, come to our party at Worlds. I want to thank our European friends for being up here at 3:00 in the morning to chat with us.
No, don't. I don't thank you, Benford. Fuck that.
It's like 5 o'clock in the morning
speak
now.
For me.
Is the sun coming up yet? Not yet.
Isian, I hope maybe to see you at Worlds if you win this weekend.
It's either me or Wama, mate. That's all.
It's you or Wama. I would love to see Wama, but you seem like a good guy too. So
it's so amazing that competitive hollowness echoes even from here.
Wow.
And then Bamford, if you dark horse it in, I will give you a nice fist bump at Worlds. So either way, it was great to have you guys on. Thank you for screwing up your Thursdays to be with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully you'll come on again sometime. So we're now 2 out of 4 hosts of Banter have been on. So we need Peel and we need Tony now.
Didn't Bamford was never doing this with us before?
No, Craven was on. It was
I know that. I thought we did Bamford too.
Yeah, Bamford had never been on before. And then I want to thank, as always, Sid and Chris for joining me, Buzz for doing the technology, and Carla for allowing Aaron to do this. Not Aaron, Carla for letting.
That's right. Yeah, no,
for putting a shirt on.
For putting a shirt on Aaron. So thank you everyone for watching. Our next episode will be in 2 weeks, and we will be doing an end of the cycle retrospective, where the game is after this, and maybe that might be our pre-Worlds episode. We'll see what the time is.
But we need one more before Worlds.
Okay, sure. so it will definitely be the end of the cycle. Where is the game? Because it's also the game's 2nd anniversary for that podcast as well. So where is the game after 2 years? So tune in for that. We'll have some guests. We'll talk some shit. Thank you for joining us. And please feel free on our Facebook page to tell us how full of shit this discussion was and how we totally excluded anyone who largely was not a white European. Have a great evening.